The picture that you're currently looking at is an evolutionary chart of the monsters in the first generation of the Monster Hunter series. It includes the ancient monsters that would become the grandfathers or distant cousins of the monsters that we hunt today. The source is from the first iteration of the Hunter's Encyclopedia. Now, there's no doubt in my mind at least that all of these quote-unquote extinct monsters were actually just scrap designs by the creative team at the time. However, the fact that they canonized the concept art in such a way is downright fascinating to say the least. Side note, this is simply going off of the Monster Hunter fan wiki. Unfortunately, not only do I have the copy of the Hunter's Encyclopedia because getting one would be super expensive to say the least, but I also cannot read Japanese, so I can only go off of third-party sources for more information. However, the information provided as an avid Monster Hunter fan is downright interesting, and today I would like to take you guys on an excursion of the extinct monsters in Monster Hunter. Since it will take me quite a while to go over every extinct monster, I will only go by category, starting with the flying wyvern. Let's start with the two monsters who are debatably the mascots of the Monster Hunter franchise, the Rathalos and the Raytheon. Each of the rats, if you didn't know already, are separate in genders, the male being the Rathalos and the female being the Raytheon. Here's a cute video of the Raytheon caring for its young. Isn't nature wonderful? Now here's another video of me relentlessly murdering the same Raytheon. Isn't nature wonderful? What you probably didn't know, however, is that they used to have a close relative that would hang out with them in family gatherings called a canopus in the ye olde ancient times. Unlike the rats, however, it was a quadruped, or basically used all four of its limbs to move around much like the Tigrex does. The difference was its body was covered in a plate-like shell. This shell, although useful for protection against attacks by potential predators or hunters if they existed at the time, didn't really help much in the movement department. According to the BannedLagi, the monster had a difficult time bending its neck since its heavy armor was on its wings, and there were plenty of soft spots around it as well, leaving it pretty much a big punching bag compared to its more agile flying counterparts. This of course led to its unfortunate extinction. Now that's interesting enough for the rat family, but which monster is their distant ancestor? Which is the monster that would go on to evolve into not only the rats, but all the flying wyverns in the entire game? Well, we'll get to that in a moment, but let's just go on a bit further down the evolutionary chain. If you like what you're seeing so far, be sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell icon to let me know if you're enjoying the content. As we move further down the evolutionary line, we find quite an awesome looking wyvern known as the Sheru. From now on, I'm just gonna call him Sheru for short. Now thankfully there is an English version of the Hunter's Encyclopedia known as the Monster Hunter Illustration that provides a detailed page of Sheru's body parts and which part does what. Again, huge shout out to the BannedLagi for this information. If you haven't followed him on Twitter already, I would highly suggest you do, if you're interested in learning about the ecology of many monsters and also lore. But from this page we can see that this monster had a poisonous breath that can stop all hunters' movements, as well as a lethal poisonous barb in its chin. Like the canopus, it was also a quadruped, but it also had this large distinctive green barbed tail similar to the Raytheon. It also has long horns, which may make sense as to why the Diablos and the Monoblos carry them as well, and its movements are akin to the undisturbed stride of the Kushala Daora. Although it looks equally, if not more intimidating as any other wyvern, it unfortunately went extinct due to environmental factors. More information on Sheru only stems from a work-in-progress fan game called Monster Hunter EX by Gorilla57. And since that isn't exactly canon, like, at all, I won't talk about it in the video. However, I'll make sure to put it in the description because it goes deep into the details of its movesets, weaknesses, and all the stuff like that. So that I'll just leave it in the description. So now we know as much info there is to know about Sheru, but how far exactly does this evolutionary chart go? What is the ancestor of the Sheru? Well, look no further than a beast that is only known as the Wyvern Rex. On the Monster Hunter fandom wiki, the Wyvern Rex is infamously known as the ancestor of all flying wyverns, and a direct descendant of the Tigrex. As you can see, based on the design, the Wyvern Rex looks strikingly similar to the Tigrex, though little is known of the Wyvern Rex, and it is said to have smaller wings than that of the Tigrex, and therefore cannot fly. There is this old fan-made wiki post made by none other than the BannedLagi himself going into more detail about the Wyvern Rex. However, since none of this is also canon, I don't feel the need to go over it. Again, it says that it appears in another fan game, but from how dated these posts are, it's safe to assume that these fan games are nothing more than concepts made for the amusement of the creator and other hardcore Monster Hunter fans. So that's gotta be it right for the flying wyverns. There cannot be anything further down the line than the Wyvern Rex, right? Well, not quite. As you can see in the evolutionary chart, there is still one more missing piece. One more wyvern that can very well be the one true ancestor of all wyverns. And though there isn't so much as concept art, the Hunter's Encyclopedia made sure to add it, and that is none other than the Origin Wyvern. According to the BannedLagi, there has been no fossil evidence of such a monster. The scholars of the Monster Hunter universe claim, however, that both the Acantor and the Ukalos could potentially be close relatives of the Origin Wyvern, since they also share some features of the Flying Wyvern, such as being quadruped, and having ironically the distinctive lack of flight. Oddly enough, I found both of these elder dragons are indeed flying wyverns, which gives even further proof that they are the closest relatives of the Origin Wyvern with which we can fight in a series. Now that's all the information I can gather on these extinct monsters, at least in the flying wyvern category. If there is something that I either missed or was misinformed on, go ahead and talk about it in the comments below. With that being out of the way, if you really enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this, then a subscription can go a long way. Having 69 subs is pretty nice, but I think more than that would be even nicer. And of course, this is your main man, the Sandman, signing off, and I'll see you in the next video.